Alright, so I got my Sears Suburban 725. So I already went ahead and got the clutch and stuff kind of, for the most part anyway, figured out. I didn't include any of that in this video, but I will have a couple more of these tractors coming up of identical machines very soon, where I'm gonna actually go through the clutch and, get all that working. But since this is the first one I messed with, I didn't, get that on camera. But I got this all, so it turns. The clutch plate here works. The only thing that doesn't seem to work is there's supposed to be a cable hooked to the bottom of the lever, so when you go in reverse, it pulls this little reverser pulley. That is missing. So I am just going to, at least for now, just push this down for the reverse, at least for testing. The engine I'm going to use, because this didn't have an engine, is a 8 horsepower Briggs flathead. Closest thing to, somewhat original that I could, find. It's a 1995, so it's a lot newer than this tractor, but it's at least a, old style engine. So what I'm going to do is get this engine bolted in. The front bolts are in, and the back ones have to be drilled, so that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Another thing I noticed with this engine that is a little weird, but I gotta, fix it, is one of the bolts holding the intake on for the carburetor is missing, so it kind of fell off to the side. So before I start it, I got to take that apart and put a bolt back in there, because otherwise it's probably not even going to run at all. So I'm going to get the bolts in for the engine, put that carburetor back together. I'm probably going to get the engine running, then I'm going to come back after that, and then we'll put the clutch and stuff together. Alright, so a whole lot of stuff went not as planned, went worse than I could have ever thought. So first of all, somebody cut into the engine with a reciprocating saw. So I had to take the engine back out after I already had it in there. Drain all the oil out, which I needed to change the oil anyway. And clean it all up and JB weld that, so that's fixed. Engine does run, it does need a carburetor clean, but it at least runs for now. The biggest thing that sucks is you might notice this clutch is not how it should be. The reason for that is the actual disc clutch on the pulley back there was not working at all. It could not get it tight enough to actually grip. I got the tractor to move in reverse, but no forward. So after half a day of messing with it and then on and off after that, could not get it to work. So I came up with this setup, which is just one speed forward. So right there is disengaged, so, kind of parked. And then that's driving. So all you got to do is pull this lever back for it to go. I mean, not ideal. I mean, it is better than this tractor not running again, but it is kind of one of those it is what it is type of things. So that disengaged, you can actually just push the tractor, and the belt it's loose enough to drive, or to push it. So I guess no reverse, so you just got to push it in reverse. I have to still clean the whole frame and everything yet, because it's still kind of crummy. Need to make a new mount for this brake lever, because that was broken off, so it kind of just hangs there. I have this other hood and grill I'm going to put on it. I like the white hood better than this red hood, because that's what it should have. And I also like the way somebody painted the top of this grill white instead of this one here that's black, so I'm going to change that out as well. So I'm going to get some of that stuff done. Come back and I'll show you the frame getting cleaned. So I got the hood cleaned up already, just some soapy water and some steel wool. I'm just kind of going over it with it and cleaning it up. So I got the rest of it all cleaned up. I had to hose it back off again just to get the nasty soapy water off. I put a larger pulley on the engine just to make it go a little bit faster. It's still slower than I'd like, so I still got to put a larger pulley on there and probably a longer belt so it is long enough. I also put some decals on the hood, which I like the way the front ones are. But the back ones, I don't really like how it turned out, but I guess it is what it is. I can always take them off and just have the front ones, if anything. The next thing I'm going to do here is this cardboard template for this pulley cover, which not only was this missing, but I have to custom make one, because even if I had one, it's not going to be the same for my cobbled together clutch belt setup that I've got going on. So I have this kind of figured out. So I'm going to use a plasma cutter and cut a piece of metal out that looks about like this. And then I'm going to have to weld something on the side that kind of goes just like my hand, like this, to cover up the belt on that side. And then figure out how I'm going to hold this on there. So I'm going to get this cut out of this piece of metal over here, and probably the other piece welded on there, and I'll come back and I'll show you an update on it. So finished up the side cover. Took a little bit to actually get it made and figured out exactly how I want to do it. I goofed up and put this hole here in the wrong spot, and it turns out it doesn't actually need to be there for the, engager lever, but oh well. Made a bracket to hold the whole assembly, this little L-shaped piece, and that hooks to this bolt with a bunch of nuts stacked on each other as spacers, and it just kind of screws to that. The same thing back here. I'll use the hole that was already in the frame. You can see barely just down there. So I didn't have to, drill any unnecessary holes for anything. And then, of course, the top just kind of loops around just to make it safe. So I'm not really happy on how it looks, but it's better than having, the belt right there and try to keep your leg out of it. So it is kind of what it is. So I was going to possibly get some blue paint and just kind of go over it, but I don't want it to look too shiny, too clean compared to the rest. So I'll probably just leave it at least for now and see what happens. But I'm going to get this outside and show you it driving. So as you've seen by that, it does in fact drive. So only forward though, so no reverse. But I'm pretty happy with it, other than, the no reverse and the speeds doesn't actually work. This cover on the side, still not 100% happy with, because it's, not blue like the rest of the tractor is. But I guess it's safer than it not having a cover there, so that's the main thing. But that is going to be it for this video. There'll be more on, maybe not so much on this one, but the other ones coming pretty soon. I've got another couple more restorations and stuff planned, so thanks for watching.